Yeah, our Father, Messiah, and Holy Spirit be with us. At that time, Yahushua went through the grains fields on the Sabbath, and his taught ones were hungry and began to pluck heads of grain to eat. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, "Look, your taught ones are doing what is not right to do on the Sabbath." But he said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he was hungry, he and those who were with him? How he went into the house of Elohim and ate the showbread, which was not right for him to eat, nor for those who were with him, but only for the priests? Or did you not read in the Torah that on the Sabbath the priests in the set apart place profane the Sabbath and are blameless?" They didn't even read the Torah. They don't read the Torah, man. They don't even know. They just, man, this stuff's sad. But I say to you that in this place there is one greater than the set apart place. And if you had known what this means, "I desire compassion and not offering," you would not have condemned the blameless. For the son of Adam is master of the Sabbath. And having left there, he went into their congregation, and see, there was a man having a withered hand. And they asked him, saying, "It is right to heal on the Sabbath," so as to accuse him. And he said to them, "What man is there among you who has one sheep, and if it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, shall not take hold of it and lift it out? How much more worth is a man than a sheep? So it is right to do good on the Sabbath." Then he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he stretched it out, and it was restored, as healthy as the other. But the Pharisees went out and took counsel against him, so as to destroy him. But Yahushua, knowing it, withdrew from there, and large crowds followed him. And he healed them all, and warned them not to make him known, in order that was spoken by Yeshayahu the prophet might be filled, saying, "See my servant whom I have chosen, my beloved, in whom my being did delight. I shall put my spirit upon him, and he shall declare right ruling to the nations. He shall not strive nor cry out, nor shall anyone hear his voice in the streets. A crushed reed he shall not break, and smoking flax he shall not quench, till he brings forth right ruling to overcome, and the nation shall trust in his name." Then they brought to him one who was demon-possessed, blind and dumb, and he healed him, so that the blind and dumb man both spoke and saw, and all the crowds were amazed, and said, "Is this the son of David?" But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, "This one does not cast out demons except by Beelzebul, the ruler of the demons." And Yahushua knew their thoughts, and said to them, "Every reign divided against itself is laid waste, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then does he reign? How then does his reign stand? And if I by Beelzebul do cast out demons, by whom do your sons cast them out? Because of this they shall be your judges. But if I cast out demons by the spirit of Elohim, then the reign of Elohim has come upon you. Or how is one able to enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods, unless he first binds the strong man, and then he shall plunder his house? He who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me scatters abroad. Because of this I say to you, all sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven men, but the blasphemy against the Spirit shall not be forgiven men. And whoever speaks a word against the son of Adam, it shall be forgiven him. But whoever speaks against the set apart Spirit, it shall not be forgiven him. Either in this age or in the age to come, either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree rotten and its fruit rotten. For a tree is known by its fruit. Brood of adders, how are you able to speak what is good, being wicked? For the mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart. The good man brings forth what is good from the good treasures of his heart, and the wicked man brings forth what is wicked from the wicked treasure. And I say to you that for every idle word man that for every idle word men speak, they shall give an account of it in the day of judgment. For by your words you shall be declared righteous, and by your word you shall be declared unrighteous. Then some of the scribes and Pharisees answered saying, "Teacher, we hope to see a sign from you." But he answering said to them, "A wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and no sign shall be given to it except the sign of the prophet Jonah." I'm sorry. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the stomach of the great fish. They only know about these old books because the Messiah talked about them. You guys got to read the old books. So shall the son of Adam be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. Men of Nineveh shall stand up in the judgment with this generation and condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonah. And look, a greater than Jonah is here. The sovereignness of the south shall rise up in the judgment with this generation and shall condemn it. For she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. And look, a greater than Solomon is here. Now when the unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through dry places, seeking rest, and finds none. Then it says, "I shall return to my house from which I came." And when it comes, it finds it it finds it empty, swept and decorated. Then it goes and takes with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they enter and dwell there. And the last of that man is worse than the first. So shall it also be with the wicked. So shall it also be with this wicked generation. And while he was still taking to the crowd, see, his mother and brothers stood outside seeking to speak with him. And one said to him, see, your mother and your brothers are standing outside seeking to speak with you. But he answering said to the one who spoke to him, who is my mother and who are my brothers? And having stretched out his hand toward his taught ones, he said, see my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the desire of my Father who is in the heavens is my mother and sister and mother. Amen. And on that day Yahushua went out of the house and sat by the sea, and large crowds were gathered together to him, so that he went into a boat and sat down, and all the crowd stood on the beach, and he spoke to them much in parables, saying, see, the sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some indeed fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured them, and others fell on rocky places, where they did not have much soil, and immediately they sprang up, because they had no depth of soil. But when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered. And others fell among thorns, and the thorns came up and choked them. And others fell on good soil and yielded a crop, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. And the tall ones came and said to him, why do you speak to them in parables? And he answering said to them, because it has been given to you to know the secrets of the reign of the heavens, but to them it has not been given. For whoever possesses, to him more shall be given, and he shall have overflowingly. But whoever does not possess, even what he possesses, shall be taken away from him. Because of this I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. And in them the prophecy of Yeshayahu is completely filled, which says, hearing you shall hear, and by no means understand, and seeing you shall see, and by no means perceive. For the heart of this people has become thickened, and their ears are hard of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, lest they should understand with their heart and turn back, and I heal them. And blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. For truly I say to you that many prophets and righteous ones long to see what you see and did not see it, and to hear what you hear and did not hear it. You then hear the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the rain and does not understand it, then the wicked one comes and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is that sown by the wayside, and that sown on rocky places. This is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. I mean, yet he has no root in himself, but is short-lived. And when pressure on persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. And that sown among the thorns is he who hears the word, and the worry of this age and the deceit of riches choke the word, and it becomes fruitless. And that sown on the good soil is he who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and yields, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Another parable he put before them, saying, the reign of the heavens has become like a man who sowed good seed in his field, but while a man slept, his enemy came and sowed Darnell among the wheat, and went away. And when the blade sprouted and bore fruit, then the Darnell also appeared. And the servants of the master of the house came and said to him, Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? From where then does it have the Darnell? And he said to them, a man and enemy did this. And the servant said to him, Do you hope then that we go and gather them up? But he said, No less. While you gather up the Darnell, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And at that time of harvest, I shall say to the reapers, first gather the Darnell and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my granary. Another parable he put before them, saying, the reign of the heavens is like a mustard seed which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is less than all the seeds, but when it is grown, it is greater than the plants, and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the heavens come and dwell in its branches. Another parable he spoke to them, the reign of the heavens is like leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, until all was leavened. Yahushua said all this to the crowds in parables, and he did not speak to them without a parable, so that what was spoken by the prophet might be filled, saying, I shall open my mouth in parables, I shall pour forth what has been hidden from the foundation of the world, Then having sent the crowds away, Yahushua went into the house, and his taught ones came to him, saying, Explain to us the parable of the darnel of the field. And he answering said to them, He who is sowing the good seed is the son of Adam, and the field is the world, and the good seed, these are the sons of the rain, but the darnel are the sons of the wicked one, and the enemy who sowed them is the devil, and the harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the messengers. As the darnel then is gathered and burned in the fire, so it shall be as the end of this age. The son of Adam shall send out his messengers, and they shall gather out of his reign all the stumbling blocks and those doing lawlessness, and shall throw them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous shall shine forth as the sun in the reign of their Father. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Again, the reign of the heavens is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man having found it hid, and for joy over it he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the reign of the heavens is like a man, a merchant seeking fine pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and brought it. Again, the reign of the heavens is like a dragnet that was thrown into the sea and gathered some of every kind, which when it was filled, they drew to shore, and they sat down and gathered the good into containers, but threw the rotten away. Thus shall it be at the end of the age. The messenger shall come forth and separate the wicked out of the midst of the righteous, and shall throw them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Yahushua said to them, Have you understood all this? They said to him, Yes, master. And he said to them, Therefore every scholar taught in the reign of the heavens is like a householder who brings out of his treasure matters renewed and old. And it came to be, when Yahushua had ended these parables, that he left there, and when he had come to his own country, he taught them in the congregations, so that they were astonished and said, Where did this one get this wisdom and miracles? Is this not the son of the carpenter? Is not his mother called Miriam, and his brother Jacob and Joseph and Shimon and Yehuda and his sisters, are they not all with us? Where then did this one get all this? And they stumbled at him. But Yahushua said to them, A prophet is not unappreciated except in his own country and in his own house. And he did not do many miracles there because of their unbelief. At that time, Herodes, the district ruler, heard the report of Yahushua and said to his servants, This is Yohanan the Immerser. He has risen from the dead, and that is why these mighty powers are at work in him. For Herodes had arrested Yohanan, bound him, and put him in prison because of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. For Yohanan had said to him, It is not right for you to have her. And hoping to kill him, he feared the crowd, because they held him as a prophet. But as Herodes' birthday was being held, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herodias. So he promised with an oath to give her whatever she asked. Now he's celebrating a birthday. What is this guy doing? A guy celebrating a birthday. We didn't hear about the prophets or Messiah. They're not celebrating birthdays, but Herodes is celebrating a birthday. Let's hear about Herodes. But as Herodes' birthday was being held, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herodias. So he promised with an oath to give her whatever she asked. And she, being urged on by her mother, said, Give me here the head of Yohanan the Immerser on a dish. What? This is what you want to do when you guys' birthday? Oh, wow. And she said, being urged on by her mother, said, Give me here the head of Yohanan the Immerser on a dish, not our brother. Whoa. He's going to the kingdom of heaven for the great work he's done, though. And the sovereign was sad, but because of the oaths and the guests, he commanded it to be given, and sent and beheaded Yohanan in prison. And instead was brought on a dish and given to the girl, and she brought it to her mother. And his taught ones came and took away the body and buried it, and went and reported to Yahushua. Now when Yahushua heard it, he withdrew from there by boat to a deserted place by himself. And when the crowds heard it, they followed him on foot from the cities. And when Yahushua came out, he saw a large crowd and was moved with compassion for them, and healed their sick. And when evening came, his taught ones came to him, saying, This is a deserted place, and the hour is already late. Dismiss the crowd so that they might go into the villages and buy food for themselves. But Yahushua said to them, They do not need to go away. Give them to eat yourselves. And they said to him, We have here only 5 loaves and 2 fish. And he said, Bring them here to me. And commanding the crowds to sit down on the grass, and taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to the heaven, he blessed and broke and gave the loaves to the taught ones, and the taught ones gave to the crowds, and all ate and were satisfied. And they picked up the pieces left over, 12 baskets filled. And those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. And immediately Yahushua made his taught ones enter into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And having dismissed the crowds, he went up to the mountain by himself to pray. And when evening had come, he was alone. He was alone there. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, agitated by the waters, for the wind was against it. And in the fourth watch of the night, Yahushua went to them, walking on the sea. And when the tall ones saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a phantom." And from fear they cried. But immediately Yahushua spoke to them, saying, "Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." And Kepha answered him and said, "Master, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." And he said, "Come." And when Kepha had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Yahushua. But when he saw that the wind was strong, he was afraid and beginning to stink. He cried out, saying, "Master, save me." And immediately Yahushua stretched out his hand and took hold of him and said to him, "O you of little belief, why did you doubt?" And when they came into the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat came and did bow to him, saying, "Truly you are the son of Elohim." And having passed over, they came to the land of Gennesaret. And when the men of that place recognized him, they sent out into all that surrounding country and brought to him all who were sick, and begged him to let them only touch the tzitzit of his garment. And as many as touched it were completely healed. Then there came to Yahushua scribes and Pharisees from Jerusalem, saying, "Why do your tall ones transgress the tradition of the elders? For they do not wash their hands when they eat bread." But he answering said to them, "Why do you also transgress the command of Elohim because of your tradition? For Elohim is commanded, saying, Respect your father and your mother, and he who curses father or mother, let him be put to death. But you say, whoever says to his father or mother, whatever profit you might have received from me has been dedicated, is certainly released from respecting his father or mother. See, you have nullified the command of Elohim by your tradition, hypocrites." Yeshayahu rightly prophesied about you, saying, "This people draw near to me with their mouth and respect me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain do they worship me, teaching as teachings the commands of men." Facts. But in vain they do worship me, teaching as teachings the commands of men. And calling the crowd near, he said to them, Hear and understand, not that which goes into the mouth defiles the man, but that which comes out of the mouth that defiles the man. Then his tall ones came and said to him, "Do you know that the Pharisees stumbled when they heard this word?" But he answering said, "Every plant which my heavenly Father has not planted shall be uprooted. Leave them alone. They are blind, leaders of the blind, and if the blind leads the blind, both shall fall into a ditch." And Kepha answering said to him, "Explain this parable to us." And Yahushua said, "Are you also still without understanding? Do you not understand that whatever enters into the mouth goes into the stomach, and is cast out in the sewer? But what comes out of the mouth comes from the heart, and these defile the man. For out of the heart comes forth wicked reasonings, murders, adulteries, whorings, thefts, false witnesses, slanders. These defile the man. But to eat with unwashed hands does not defile the man." And Yahushua went out from there and withdrew to the parts of Sower and to Sidon, and see, a woman of Canaan came from those borders and cried out to him, saying, "Have compassion on me, O master, son of Dawood. My daughter is badly demon possessed." But he did not answer her a word. And his tall ones came and asked him, saying, "Send her away, because she cries after us." And he answering said, "I was not sent except to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But she came and was bowing to him, saying, "Master, help me." And he answering said, "It is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs." But she said, "Yes, master, for even the little dogs eat the crumbs which fall down from their master's table." And Yahushua answering said to her, "O woman, your belief is great. Let it be to you as your desire." And her daughter was healed from that hour. And moving from there, Yahushua came toward the Sea of Galilee. And going up on the mountain, he was sitting there, and large crowds came to him, having with them those who were lame, blind, dumb, crippled, and many others. And they laid them down at the feet of Yahushua, and he healed them, so that the crowd marveled when they saw the dumb speaking, the crippled well, the lame walking, and the blind seeing, and they praised the Elohim of Israel. And Yahushua, having called his tall ones near, said, "I have compassion on them. I have compassion on the crowd, because they have now continued with me 3 days and do not have whatever to eat, and I do not hope to send them away hungry, lest they faint on the way." And his taught ones said to him, Where are we to get enough bread in the desert to satisfy such a large crowd?" And Yahushua said to them, "How many loaves do you have?" And they said, 7, and a few little fish. And he commanded the crowd to sit down on the ground, and taking the 7 loaves and the fish, giving thanks, he broke them and gave to his taught ones, and the taught ones to the crowd. And all ate and were satisfied. And they picked up what was left over of the broken pieces, 7 large baskets filled. And those who ate were 4,000 men, besides women and children. And dismissing the crowd, he went into the boat and came to the borders of Magdala. And the Pharisees and Sadducees came and trying him, asked that he asked that he would show them a sign from heaven. And he answering said to them, when it is evening, you say, fair weather, for the heaven is red. And in the morning, stormy weather today, for the heaven is red and overcast. You know how to discern the face of the heaven, but you are unable to discern the signs of the times. A wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and no sign shall be given to it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. And he left them and went away, and his taught ones came to the other side and had forgotten to take bread. And Yahushua said to them, mind and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, because we brought no bread. But Yahushua, aware of this, said to them, O you of little belief, why do you reason among yourselves, because you brought no bread? Do you still not understand? Neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000 and how many baskets you picked up, or the 7 loaves of the 4,000 and how many large, or the 7 loaves of the 7,000 or the 7 loaves of the 4,000 and how many large baskets you picked up? How is it that you do not understand that I did not speak to you concerning bread, but to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees? Then they understood that he did not say to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the teaching of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Now when Yahushua came into the parts of Caesarea Philippia, he asked his taught ones, saying, who do men say the son of Adam is? And they said, some say Yohanan the Immerser, and others Eliyahu, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He said to them, and you, who do you say I am? And Shimon Kepha answering said, you are the Messiah, the son of the living Elohim. And Yahushua answering said to him, blessed are you, Shimon Bar Yonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in the heavens. And I also say to you that you are Kepha, and on this rock I shall build my assembly, and the gates of Sheol shall not overcome it. And I shall give you the keys of the reign of the heavens, and whatever you bind on earth shall be having been bound in the heavens, and whatever you loosen on earth shall be having been loosened in the heavens. Then he warned his taught ones that they should say to no one that he is Yahushua the Messiah. From that time Yahushua began to show to his taught ones that it was necessary for him to go to Jerusalem and to suffer much from the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and to be raised again the 3rd day. And Kepha took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, be kind to yourself, master, this shall not be to you. But he turned and said to Kepha, get behind me, Satan, you are a stumbling block to me, for your thoughts are not those of Elohim, but those of men. And then Yahushua said to his taught ones, if anyone hopes to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his stake and follow me. For whoever hopes to save his life shall lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited if he gains all the world and he loses his own life? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his life? For the Son of Adam is going to come in the esteem of his Father with his messengers, and then he shall reward each according to his works. Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who shall not taste death at all until they see the Son of Adam coming in his reign. And after 6 days, Yahushua took Kepha and Jacob and Yohanan his brother, and brought them up on a high mountain by themselves. And he was transformed before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his garments became as white as the light. And see, Moshe and Eliyahu appeared to them, talking with him. And Kepha answering said to Yahushua, Master, it is good for us to be here. If you hope, let us make here 3 booths, one for you, one for Moshe, and one for Eliyahu. While he was still speaking, see, a bright cloud overshadowed them. And see, a voice came out of the cloud, saying, this is my son, the beloved, in whom I delight. I did delight. Hear him. This is my son, the beloved, in whom I did delight. Hear him. And when the taught ones heard, they fell on their faces and were much afraid. But Yahushua came near and touched them and said, rise and do not be afraid. And having lifted up their eyes, they saw no one but Yahushua only. And as they were coming down from the mountain, Yahushua commanded them, saying, do not mention the vision to anyone until the Son of Adam is raised from the dead. And his taught ones asked him, saying, why then do the scribes say that Eliyahu has to come first? And Yahushua answering said to them, Eliyahu is indeed coming first, and shall restore all. But I say to you that Eliyahu has already come, and they did not recognize him, but did to him whatever they hoped. In this way the Son of Adam is also about to suffer by them. Then the taught ones understood that he had spoken to them about Yohanan the Immerser. And when they came to the crowd, a man came up to him, kneeling down to him and saying, Master, have compassion on my son, for he is an epileptic and suffers badly, for he often falls into the fire and often into the water. And I brought him to your taught ones, but they were unable to heal him. And Yahushua answering said, O generation, unbelieving and perverted, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring him here to me. And Yahushua rebuked the demon, and he came out of him, and the child was healed from that hour. Then the taught ones came to Yahushua by himself and said, Why were we unable to cast him out? And Yahushua said to them, Because of your unbelief. For truly I say to you, if you have belief as a mustard seed, you shall say to this mountain, Move from here to there, and it shall move, and no matter shall be impossible for you. And no matter shall be impossible for you. But this kind does not go out except through prayer and fasting. And while they were staying in Galilee, Yahushua said to them, The son of Adam is about to be delivered up into the hands of men, and they shall kill him. And the third day he shall be raised up. And they were deeply grieved. And when they came into Kephar Nahum, those who received the double drachma, hold on, it has the definitions down here. Oh, a tax. And those who have received the tax came to Kepha and said, Does your teacher not pay the double tax? He said, Yes. And when he came into the house, Yahushua spoke to him first, saying, What do you think, Shema'an? From whom do the sovereigns of the earth take toll or tax? From their own sons or from the strangers? Kepha then said to him, From the strangers. Yahushua said to him, Then the sons are exempt. But lest we cause them to stumble, go to the sea, cast in a hook, and take the fish that comes up first. And when you have opened its mouth, you shall find a stater. A stater is a coin, equivalent to 4 taxes. Take that and give it to them for me and you. At that time, the taught ones take that and give it to them for me and you. At that time, the taught ones came to Yahushua, saying, Who then is greatest in the reign of the heavens? And Yahushua called a little child to him and set him in their midst, and said, Truly I say to you, unless you turn and become as little children, you shall by no means enter into the reign of the heavens. Whoever then humbles himself as this little child is the greatest in the reign of the heavens. Humble yourself. And whoever receives one little child like this in my name receives me. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it is better for him than a millstone be hung around his neck, and that he be drowned in the depth of the sea. Woe to the world because of stumbling blocks, for it is necessary that stumbling blocks come, but woe to that man by whom the stumbling block comes. And if your hand or foot causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away from you. It is better for you to enter into life lame or crippled, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be thrown into the everlasting fire. Facts. And if your eye, amen. If your eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out and throw it away from you. It is better for you to enter into life with 1 eye, rather than having 2 eyes to be thrown into the fire of Gehenna. See that you do not despise one of these little ones. For I say to you that in the heavens their messengers always see the face of my Father who is in the heavens. For the Son of Adam has come to save what was lost. What do you think? If a man has 100 sheep and one of them goes astray, would he not leave the 99 on the mountains, going to seek the one that is straying? And if he should find it, truly I say to you, he rejoices more over that sheep than over the 99 that did not go astray. Thus it is not the desire of your Father who is in the heavens that one of these little ones should be lost. And if your brother sins against you, go and convict him between you and him alone. If he hears you, you have gained your brother. But if he does not hear you, take with you 1 or 2 more. Then by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word might be established. And if he refuses to hear them, say it to the assembly. If he refuses even to hear the assembly, let him be to you like the nations and a tax collector. Truly I say to you, whatever you bind on earth shall be having been bound in heaven, and whatever you loosen on earth shall be having been loosened in heaven. Again I say to you that if 2 of you agree on earth concerning any matter that they ask, it shall be done for them. It shall be done for them by my Father. I lost my spot for a second. It shall be done for them by my Father in the heavens. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I am in their midst. Then Kepha came to him and said, Master, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Up to 7 times. Yahushua said to him, I did not say to you up to 7 times, but up to 70 times 7. Because of this, the reign of the heavens is like a certain man, a sovereign, who hoped to settle accounts with his servants. And when he had begun to settle, one was brought to him who owed him 10,000 talents. But as he was unable to pay, his master commanded that he be sold with his wife and children and all that he had, and paid with his wife and children and all that he had, and payment to be made. Then the servant fell down before him, saying, Master, have patience with me, and I shall pay you all. And the master of that servant was moved with compassion, released him, and forgave him the debt. And that servant went out and found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii, and he laid hands on him and took him by the throat, saying, "Pay me what you owe me." Then his fellow servant fell down at his feet and begged him, saying, "Have patience with me, and I shall pay you all." But he would not, and went and threw him into prison till he should pay the debt. That's so sad. And when his fellow servants saw what he had done, they were deeply grieved and came and reported to their master all that had taken place. Then his master called him and said to him, "Wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt, seeing you begged me. Should you not also have compassion on your fellow servant, as I also had compassion on you?" And his master was wroth and delivered him to the torturers until he should pay all that was due to him. So also my heavenly Father shall do to you. If each of you from his heart does not forgive his brother his trespasses. And it came to be, when Yahushua had ended these words, that he left Galilee and came to the borders of Yehuda beyond the Yarden, and large crowds followed him, and he healed them there. And the Pharisees came to him, trying him, and saying to him, "Is it right for a man to put away his wife for every reason?" And he answering said to them, "Did you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female? And said, For this cause a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh, so that they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore what Elohim has joined together, let man not separate." They said to him, Why then did Moshe command to give a certificate of divorce and to put her away? He said to them, because of the hardness of your hearts, Moshe allowed you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. And I say to you, whoever puts away his wife except on the ground of whoring and marries another commits adultery, and whoever marries her who has been put away commits adultery. His taught ones said to him, If such is the case of the man with his wife, it is good not to marry. And he said to them, Not all receive this word, but only those to whom it has been given. For there are eunuchs who were so born from their mother's womb, and there are eunuchs who were made eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs who have made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the reign of the heavens. He who was able to receive it, let him receive it. Then young children were brought to him to lay his hands on them and pray, and the tall ones rebuked them. But Yahushua said, Allow the young children, and do not stop them from coming to me, for of such is the reign of the heavens. And having laid hands on them, he went from there. And see, one came and said to him, Good teacher, what good shall I do to him? Good teacher, what good shall I do to have everlasting life? And he said to him, Why do you call me good? No one is good except one, Elohim. But if you hope to enter into life, guard the commands. He said to him, Which? And Yahushua said, You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness, respect your father and your mother, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. The young man said to him, All these I have watched over from my youth. What do I still lack? Yahushua said to him, If you hope to be perfect, go, sell what you have, and give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven, and come, follow me. And when the young man heard the word, he went away sad, because he had many possessions. Whoa. And Yahushua said to his taught ones, Truly I say to you that it is hard for a rich man to enter into the reign of the heavens. And again I say to you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the reign of Elohim. And when his taught ones heard it, they were astonished, saying, Who then is able to be saved? And looking intently, Yahushua said to them, With men this is impossible, but with Elohim all is possible. Then Kepha answering said to him, See, we have left all and followed you. What then shall we have? And Yahushua said to them, Truly I say to you, when the Son of Adam sits on the throne of his esteem, you who have followed me in the rebirth shall also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone who has left houses, or brothers, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. But many who are first shall be last, and the last first. I'm going to stop right here and start it again.